Well, I'm sure you guys get sick of seeing my swing all the time, so I wanted to pull up somebody who is an RST student who has worked the system, has gone through everything step by step. I've been watching him in the Facebook group. I've been giving him a couple of online lessons, and he's been working with other instructors with Rotary Swing, getting online lessons and swing reviews, and the results are spectacular. I'm just going to walk you through like the basic things. I'm going to use Joel's swing here as kind of a simple guide to help you look at things in your own swing, to recognize what you're doing and seeing it just from a totally different perspective, from a student's perspective who has walked through each of the steps of the dead drill and mastered each step, and look at how amazing his swing is. So let's first, I drew 2 lines here. These 2 lines are the first things that you should pretty much draw on your swing every time you're looking at it from down the line. One on top of your head and one on your butt cheek, right? Your right butt cheek. What's really important is that, and Joel does this perfectly, that he maintains his depth with that right hip. And you'll see there's a little bit of right leg straightening there. Now, there's a balance point between this. If you don't let the right leg straighten at all, then your right leg is going to be so torqued up that you're going to want to internally rotate that right leg in the downswing and spin your hips open. And that doesn't work. That's very inefficient. Or you can straighten it out, straighten it and lock it. And Joel's not locking it. And it would, if you were looking at it from the perspective of how much of his hips have turned, which would mean the camera would need to be more looking at it from this angle, you would see he's actually maintained more flex than it looks like here. But a little bit of straightening is normal. It helps get that right hip deep. It helps get it back behind you, which helps your shoulders get steeper. This is a really important concept. A lot of times we see people with their shoulders turning flat. You can see Joel's shoulders are getting steep. That's perfect. Oh, shoot. I already whacked my lines there. I think it was about right there. So that's a normal thing, to have that right leg straighten a little bit to help get that depth of the hip in the backswing. You just don't want it to be hyperextended and locked out, which clearly this isn't. And now again, Joel's drilling here, and he's been drilling, I think he's in Canada, so they had a lot of early snow, I think. So he's been cranking away for a while doing the drills. So there's a couple little things that are a little exaggerated here, but there are some wonderful things here that you can see in his swing. So one that I think is super important, I'm doing a video on it in my, the top 10 modern tour pro moves, what happens. And this is one of the ones that's really important. You can see that the club moves away from the target line and shallows out and gets to a steeper pitch than what it was there. And this is happening, as you can tell, by him using his body. His arms have barely moved at all. You can see that his hands are still back here behind his shoulder, in line with his shoulder, showing that he's just using his weight shift to the left, pressure shift back to the left, and getting that left hip back out of the way. Now you can see that left hip has actually moved further back behind that line than where it started, and his head has dropped down significantly. A lot of people think that this head drop down move is just like squatting down to the ground and bending your knees a lot and just going straight down. That's actually going to cause you to lose your posture. Joel's actually getting somewhat steeper with his spine because he's moving that left hip, like we talk about in the clamshell video, back out of the way. He's pushing away from the target line, pushing that left hip back, which helps the club go out toward the ball using your legs. So this is why Joel doesn't have to fire his arms hard from the top. He can be patient for a second, get that body time to get out of the way, and get into a wonderful tour pro caliber impact position there. So excellent job there. Now let's take a look at the face-on view. Now I just did a lesson with Joel, so I was talking about where this impact bag is. It's too far forward, and you're going to see that in just a moment. But so ignore what's really going on with the club at impact. I'll explain that stuff in just a moment. But clear. Joel's put some tape on the ground, so he sets up the same way every time. He's got perfect setup, perfect stance with there. Everything's great. And then as he goes back, just like I talked about in one of the last videos on the Tour Pro moves, you can see that he's made a nice big turn by the time that left arm is parallel to the ground. So he's done a great job getting rotation there, going back. And then you're going to see he's just going to be patient. Arms are just waiting. And then he's going to get that left hip out of the way, driving out of the way. And then, yes, his hands are a little farther forward than where I'd like for them to be at impact. This is, we don't need to get them that far forward, but he's put that impact bag too far out in front there. And And if you're used to kind of like flinging the club and scooping it and doing a bunch of goofy stuff like that that's causing a lot of thin hits and miss hits, this is an okay drill to do to kind of exaggerate getting your hands flat, get that left hand flat and get your hands further out ahead at impact, but we definitely don't need them there. The big thing I want you to see is just how well Joel moves his body. You'll see that he gets that left hip posted over, that weight's all on that left side, and then that left leg just looks like a big old oak tree firmly planted in the ground. The right heel is staying down, rolling to the inside. He's doing that better than I am even now. And it just is a wonderful position. You can see his shoulders, they're just chilling out for a second as he gets time to get that weight over. And again, Joel's doing drills here. And one of the things I just told him in this lesson was that I want him to start getting a little bit quicker and not kind of exaggerating these big moves, the big squat move and those types of things. They need to start happening more quickly, and he'll get that very soon. Obviously, he's built a world-class golf swing here in just by doing the drills, but he's overdoing a couple little things and holding on to the lag a little bit too long. We want to start releasing that, and getting a little bit of right hand to help release that club a little bit more will help keep his hands from getting so far out in front. But the big thing is he's mastered the stuff that's hard. He's mastered the stuff that matters. That impact position with the lower body is as good as it gets. And you can put him up against any tour pro on the planet now. Just by working through the system, being very diligent, he's mastered the things that matter most in the golf swing. And there's a lot that you can learn from looking at Joel's swing, but he's done it just by following the Rotary Swing system. Great job, Joel. Super proud of you, man. Keep it up.